guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Okay, and we are live. Welcome back, everyone. This is Anonymous Bites Back Asia episode 6. We'll give updates about the bushfires in Australia, and we'll talk, of course, we'll have to talk about the whole Wuhan coronavirus. And well, we have several other subjects we will talk about, and just want to say welcome everyone, and please help to share these episodes, because that's what we depend on. So you guys are aware that independent voices and real truth tends to be censored these days on social media. So we need your help, and enjoy the show. So I don't know, guys, just start.
Yeah, you were lagging really bad. Where's the server? Maybe we should switch the server before we start.
Let's see.
Yeah, that was really bad. I don't think anybody heard what you said. I couldn't hear what you said. You sounded like a robot. Yeah, I think so too.
What about now? Is it better?
Yeah, now we can hear you, but it's probably gonna cut in and out.
It's set to Europe now. I don't know. Let's see.
I can hear Mark perfectly.
Yeah, I heard him fine. It was good now. Earlier it wasn't. It was like really laggy.
Okay, well, I can do it again just to be sure. I mean, yeah. So, welcome back to episode 6 of Anonymous Bites Back Asia, and we'll update about the coronavirus, of course, and about the bushfires in Australia, and we got several other subjects to talk about, and again, a request to the listeners to please share this everywhere, because we're still dealing with shadow bans. Social media, different social media sites don't actually seem to like the whole truth or independent voices as much anymore. So we depend on you guys to get the word out. For the rest, enjoy the show, and I guess that's it. So you guys just start.
Call Facebook.
Yeah, it's like really bad. We don't even stream there anymore.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, they're just full-on content Nazis. But updates for the coronavirus. Now, we're seeing that the Chinese authorities are actually going to people's houses, grabbing them out of their houses, quarantining people inside of their houses. It's getting crazy, man. Like,
by the way, when they are quarantining people inside the house, they seal them shut with some kind of metal device that prevents them from exiting their house like ever.
Yeah. They're actually using welding torches. I've seen videos of them using welding torches. I've seen videos of them literally locking locks on people's doors so they can't open them after they put a metal bar across. Um, I've seen a lot of shit, man. Like it's getting crazy over there. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on is the uh, SO2 sulfur oxide levels that are coming out of China in certain cities are way past the dangerous level of 1,000 plus. Um, and that says that they are burning way more bodies than 800. So the Chinese government is lying about how many people have died from this virus just alone with that fact, because if they were telling the truth, right, the SO2 levels would not be that high. And that's only in one region of China, Wuhan, where the levels are at 1,000. In other regions, they're pretty close to 1,000. So, they're burning bodies all over China, and they're not telling the truth about this at all. Like, the numbers are probably, I saw a professor, Neil Ferguson, I think his last name was. He said that that China was lying and that the figures are more like 10 times what they're saying. So you do the math on that one.
Yeah.
8,000?
I believe that could be more.
10K
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, no, he said at least 10 times. So, I mean, like, that's being conservative. That's,
So 10 times the amount of infections or 10 times the amount of deaths? Like,
Maybe
both.
both.
He said both. Yeah, he said both.
Yeah, and today actually People's Daily have a post on Twitter. I think they also have posts somewhere else. They've said that the entire country, China, other than in the province of Hubei, which Wuhan is in. So other than that province, other provinces they have way less diagnosed cases in the past 5 days. So the diagnosed case drops for 42.8%. And they said this is because of the regulations and precautions that has helped the situation. And I so do not believe in that.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's because like they locked people in their houses, so they don't have to deal with them. They don't have to diagnose them. Yeah, that's why the numbers
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and they're spraying disinfectant gas, and also they're spraying some type of somebody said it was chlorine. I'm not too sure about that, but I know that they're spraying disinfectant gas. But if they are spraying chlorine, again, that's another chemical to try to kill the virus. So yeah, it's very interesting what we're seeing coming out of China right now. It's contradicting what they're saying about their narrative.
Yeah, if it's under control, they don't have to do all these things that much.
Exactly.
At
They
first, we saw it,
don't need to lock down the whole city when it's like when it's like only like 100 of cases at the start.
yeah, true. In fact, it actually locked down more cities than only Wuhan from this week on. Like 30 more are locked down right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the official count is we're actually at 400 million people that are locked out, or I'm sorry, locked down and not being allowed to leave their cities to travel outside of China. So that's 400 million people. We broke the record for the most quarantined people at 50 million. So, we've now
Wait, you mean 15 or 50 people?
50.
Okay.
50 million, yeah. At 50 million, China broke the record for the most quarantine during a virus epidemic. There's never been 50 million people that were quarantined during a virus epidemic. Now we have 400 million people that are quarantined. That is crazy.
Yeah, 400 million.
I mean, we surpassed SARS. This virus.
That too.
That's another we.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story. It's like, we also surpassed SARS at 800 deaths. We surpassed SARS. So, and we surpassed SARS within, if you believe that the virus started in December, right? That would be only 3 months. Um, and SARS took 8 months to get to 800.
It's because of how the disease is compared to SARS, to be honest. So you got, even though like the death rate is low, considerably lower than SARS, you still got a very large population infected. So that's not good. Definitely not good.
Well, the death rate just surpassed SARS, so um, it was lower than SARS. But now that it's surpassed SARS within 3 months, and SARS took 8 months to get up to 800 deaths.
Oh, it's not the numbers. It's the percentage. I mean,
Oh, okay, yeah. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
but because we have such a large population infected compared to SARS, this is getting harder to control.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but we have a problem that it's in both period in SARS and right now in this coronavirus is that we don't get to know early. Like we always know about the situation when it's too late, and that has contributed a lot to the large number of infected cases and also the death rate because people did not have precaution measures to like avoid getting infected.
Yeah, right. Because they didn't take the initiative to tell the people until it was too late. Like you said, it's really this is all falls on the Chinese government failure to contain this thing early on and actually admit that there was a viral outbreak. We had a doctor. I don't know if you know his name and can say it correctly because I can't. Um, I think his name's like Lu Wang or something like that. But we had a doctor who whistleblew on this just die from the virus. So I mean, um, it's really all on the Chinese government for this outbreak.
Yeah. And also, even their remedial measures are not working. Like, they try to contain people by the quarantine, but they announce it always like a few days before the quarantine so people could just leave the city immediately. Like, 3 days later, it's going to close down. So they're just going to spread to all those places. They're not dumb enough to be staying there.
Yeah, the Wuhan mayor. We said this before on the show. The Wuhan mayor said that there was 5 million people who left Wuhan before the,
Yeah.
the, the quarantine. That is absolutely just irresponsible and completely devastating. Like that is pandemic level. Even if you say 100,000 of those people are infected,
Mhm.
they spread it to another 3 or 4 people. Then all of a sudden you have 400,000, 500,000 infected or more. Like yeah, that's irresponsible for them to allow them to leave like that when they knew that something was going on.
Yeah, I think the
Well,
better could be just like they announce it early. However, starting from that time of announcement, if you have to leave, then you should get checked, like before leaving. A lot better sense.
I saw Like it's sort of like from now on we'll be closing lockdown. The city will be in a lockdown. That kind of stuff. From this moment of announcement, that sort of stuff. So people, I mean, like people don't get to panic and escape from the location.
Yeah, I mean, but there are also people who doesn't live in that province, so it makes sense for them to have time to get away. But I think starting from the announcement, they should check every person who goes in and out of the border, rather than checking it 3 days later. And that is very similar to the case in Hong Kong right now because they are now closing down finally 90% of the borders, not 100% yet. However, they
It's too
also
late.
yeah. However, like they also announced it like 2.5 days early, and now there are a lot of Chinese people rushing down to Hong Kong right before the border close again. However, they are also not checked.
I
Like
mean, they got a mandatory like 14. They announced some
yeah,
sort of like mandatory 14 days self quarantine thingy. But
no,
well,
that is after the lockdown of the 90% of the borders.
well, 14 days of self quarantine. Are you expecting them to do that? Are you are you expecting everyone who would do the self quarantine?
That is simply wishful thinking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a lot of them don't even admit that they are from like Wuhan, for example, after the lockdown. They escape and they would just say, "I'm from somewhere else. I'm not from that
Yep.
area." Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot. There was a video I shared on Twitter where the guy goes through and says all the incidents where people are literally leaving China, lying where they're coming from to leave, right? And then they're bragging on social media saying, you know, I said that I was from here, and I got to go to like the this other place, you know, like they're just yeah, it's irresponsible for people to do that, and they're endangering other people. So
Oh, and by the way, I think that there's a lot of like Chinese people was hearing that. Oh, there's some, because there actually were news that saying that a few, like one of the Ebola I don't know medicine, some one of the Ebola medicine actually like get to cure like or suppress the virus, and then they heard that it's in Hong Kong, then they all rush over there.
yeah, right. That's not a surprise either.
Oh wait, but speaking of the the medicine, I think like one of the American, I don't know, American or just like okay, some foreign like medical corp, they like sort of like put out the active ingredient for the medicine, and then China went to make a patent out of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a British patent, and then now they're trying to patent the. It's so stupid. It's like it shows that capitalism is more important than people dying of a virus. That's what it shows. It shows they want to make a profit off of this rather than save people.
I mean, like your whole country is in danger. Your population is in danger, and the first thing you want to do with your medicine is go and patent it. Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah, it's really ridiculous.
Hey, so before the show, we were also discussing about a new bird flu in China, and
Yeah, they've got problems.
yeah, I was just reading about it, and it's actually very close to the epicenter of Wuhan. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't it?
so
it
they,
is just the province below it
yeah, and, yeah, and they
called the north, and then that is the southern part.
Yeah, Hunan, it's called in Hubei province. But so I'm not sure how updated this is because this is like February too. But it says like bird flu is much deadlier than either SARS or the coronavirus. But as of yet, no human
Yep.
cases have been reported in this outbreak.
There was a reported case in Hong Kong of a little boy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if it made its way to Hong Kong, it's over China. It's somewhere in China, and it's probably widespread. Avian flu is very, very contagious, and it spreads very fast.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying it because we saw some videos and things of people who it didn't seem that they were actually infected with like a simple flu. They were just dropping down like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That makes me think like something else is going on. Because I showed this, yeah, I had some people come over and I showed it to them and like saying like this doesn't look like a normal flu. You don't just drop down like this. Like what's going on with these people? Like
yeah.
Okay, so
No,
there
I definitely
there
agree.
are people saying like that is the consequences of a brain death or brain infection, and brain infection could be one of the things that was led to by this virus. Like it's possible was released by the officials that the brain infection is possible. So that could be a case of that.
yeah,
But
but
I
I have one question about that because at one point they just stand there like nothing is going on, and then they suddenly drop down. Like you're saying, like
Yeah,
it has to be like a brain infection, and it originates from like you already have the flu or whatever. Then you should be like personally, I think you should already have like a high fever, and you should all be already be laying down and stuff. That's what I think about it, but
But it's also possible that they already have high fever. They're just not laying down because they don't have enough hospitals to treat the disease, and people are just running around hospitals trying to get in there. So they could be in one of those stages of just looking for hospitals. I don't know.
a lot of those videos, that are showing people drop down are actually them waiting in line to go to a hospital. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
that out there. And just put it this way: if somebody's infected in a line of other people, okay, all those other people are going to be infected by the time they leave. Like that's not like that's the truth, because it's like if you're next to somebody who's infected like that and they're coughing all over the place. First off, those surgical masks, which most people are using, are to try to suppress this. They don't work. The only masks that work are the N95 mask, and they only have a 95% chance of holding back foreign materials, and also air moisture getting inside that mask. So, you know, since they're not all using corrective preventive measures, there's probably a lot more people that are infected.
Yeah, that's why from like 2 weeks ago, starting then, they started to like lock people in their houses instead, or else the number could just not stop.
Did they start that 2 weeks ago, or did that just kind of leak out now? And has it been going on for a longer period of time? Because I saw that they were barricading people, and also saw that citizens themselves were barricading strangers from entering their towns. So
That started earlier.
The barricade one is started at like I think at the start, like I think 2 or 3 weeks 3 weeks ago, like barricading like they're barricading roads to not let out like outside people to come into
yeah,
their village.
Province
And
or
on the
city.
other, yeah, and on the other hand, the I think the metal bar wielded doors, that one I think is the latest video, like the earliest video I saw with it. It's like about 1.5 week ago.
I would say like the people's own action of stopping people from the outside would be like 2 3 weeks ago, and the state's action was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like we see reports of either super like very irresponsible people going around. They were like they had a kind of mentality of like, oh, I'm about to die. You can't leave also, and they were like spitting their own like spitting it. They were spitting on handbars and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy. Like, there's people in China that are literally trying to get other people infected. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, people are losing their fucking minds. Like, you see
I'm not
citizens.
leaving. You're not gonna leave also.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you see citizens going after other citizens, like attacking other citizens, and there was one video of where there was citizens, not police, where they were literally like trapping their neighbors inside their houses. Then I guess the police saw that and were like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it ourselves." But I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, they were doing it. Like citizens themselves were actually trapping in their neighbors as well. So
Yeah, I think it all started with that policy of if you find someone who's from Wuhan, that you get money back. Starting from that point, yeah, they start to like barricade people in their house so they can report them and get the money.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
they
Is that what they're doing?
they say that you can get like 5 months. You can if you're in Guangzhou, you can get 5 masks, surgical mask for if you can capture someone from Hubei. It's like a bounty.
In somewhere else, I saw you get around like, um, how much is that? Like around 200 US dollars. Yeah.
Oh,
For
wow.
each person from Hubei. So if you get a family, you're gonna get rich.
Wait,
It's so fucked up.
I thought the regional governments are really quite in depth like shit for like in China, and how are they gonna squeeze that money out?
They just print more. What about
It's
that?
just a promise. Yeah, they don't have to fulfill it. I mean, it's just a promise.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. It's like, oh, you just turned on your neighbor. Well, we don't have any more money to pay the bounty. But thanks for turning in your.
Yeah, do you
I
guys
mean
want?
that they were.
Yeah, please go on.
I mean like the sorry, because I was seeing like a few very funny like really crazy shit going on, like regional governments. they're actually they're actually like having they're mobilizing the police force to like to aim on people on other like on other like trucks trucks delivering masks to other areas. Like they're mobilizing the police force to aim at trucks moving to other areas, so they can say that, oh, you're going like you're are you passing through here? You need to give up your mask to us.
What? What do you mean by they mobilize people? Like they ask.
They mobilize their police force. They literally open they literally sort of mobilize those like what hardened, is it called armored vehicles? Is that what you call?
The MRAPs? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not quite
Humvees?
sure.
Like, what is it? What are we looking at?
Like those kind of like metal, like the cars armed with metal plates.
Metal plates?
I think she's talking about MRAPs. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Anyway, they were like a lot of them were like, are you going through here? You have to pay up. You have to pay us for with mask. So they're like 20. Like I think there was like
Oh,
few
They're armored cars, but they're made in China, so they can't be embrace.
Well, I mean, it's similar to an MRAP,
Maybe,
right?
maybe.
Am I right?
But apparently they were police issues, so maybe.
Oh, are you talking about the metal vans that they've been fucking going through and like pulling people out and just throwing them in the van and then driving away? Like that shit was crazy. I was seeing those videos.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, okay, so I try to insta translate this one. So they were like I think it's like what you call, like they're mobbing on the road. They like they were they were like region, like they're passing like one of the armored cars from armored vans from the other from one another region. They're passing, they're like they're delivering masks to another region. So when at the middle of the when the van is passing through the middle, one of the regions in the middle from the destination, they got robbed. They sort of get like robbed by local police to actually, because their government is also, they said the government need masks, sort of like that. And sorry, do you get it?
Yeah, I do. Everyone, yeah.
I mean, like the regional governments were robbing masks from each other whenever they know that there's a truck going on. They're going to rob it. It's rob using the police force.
Yeah, because like all
Well,
the
they
rich
do give you a letter saying that they have confiscated it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
In the name of confiscation.
yes.
and never letting you having those things back.
At least it is like super official theft. Yeah, it is sad.
Well, yeah, then it's okay. I mean, you know that's how the banks in the West do things too. It's like, you know, if you rob a bank, you go to prison, but if you own a bank and you rob the people, you're fine.
But how is it with masks coming in from other countries? Because I know in other countries, like including in my own, Chinese people are actually collecting masks and asking for donations to buy masks to actually send to the region. I think here in the Netherlands, I think it was 1.6 million masks they sent to China. Are these even arriving or?
You mean the government sending them, or
No,
the
no,
people them?
just people here from
People organize it?
yeah, Chinese. In my country, Chinese people are organizing these mass collection things and sending them to China. Say they need to have like solidarity with other Chinese people, so they are sending it to China. I wonder how.
Yeah, I've sold it too.
Yeah,
I think those things happen in a lot of countries, especially those with a lot of people like Canada, the US. Yeah, they are doing that. And yeah, and actually in Hong Kong, I forgot, it's either the government or some political party are sending masks to China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we're noticing is that these masks are being bought up all online. You can't get a proper you can get surgical mask, right? But you can't get a N95 mask online right now. In Amazon, they're sold out all over, on both Amazon US and Amazon Canada, as well as Amazon EU. Um, so, you know, it's very hard for people to get a hold of these N95 masks. And also, we saw reports that over here in the U.S., in several major big cities like LA and New York and
Mhm.
Chicago. The pharmacies that are selling these N95 masks and also surgical masks are getting completely wiped out. Like they do not have the stock anymore. So it's starting to pick up. The panic is starting to ensue, and people are buying these masks in bulk um, as people fear that the virus is going to spread over here to the west.
Do you think it's like the people in the West buying, or are they buying to send it back to China?
It's probably a mixture of both. I mean, when sadly when these types of events happen, people buy up these masks just to resell them, and
Oh
they'll
yeah,
resell them at
selling.
ridiculous prices.
Oh wait, you can't remind me that there are a few cases where the well because there was a very large base of um foreign Chinese students studying in other countries in the world, all over the world. Yeah, so there were cases like they actually they were genuinely love their country, and they actually genuinely buy masks, and they genuinely wanted to donate back to China, but somehow they see in the internet, like their donated masks are being resold in a high price, and the photo is exactly the same, or the same photo when they like sort of like take a picture and confirm that they have stock of masks about to send to those like send to the people in the contact in China. And it's very sad to see that people were when they when people are donating because they want they are just like being nice, but these like selfish people, they just sell out of profit.
Yeah,
Right.
this is the result of capitalism, right? I mean, everyone wants to make money with it, and this is how it just goes. Sad, but also has to do with just like this shortage in masks. There shouldn't be a shortage. Like they need to have maybe now they will remember it for the future to have like a mask for every person. Yeah, because they're not so
I mean, like
expensive to make.
actually,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, because I mean, like in the world, like all over actually there were reports that the world cannot provide everyone with masks given the number they produce annually.
Yes, let me remind you why you shouldn't be donating masks to China. China is the main supplier of materials to be made for them. So if anyone should have masks, it's China. Like they will have enough supplies very soon, and they wouldn't be needing your donations anymore. While you so when you're donating, you're taking your own supplies away, while they they will very soon enough have enough masks for themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
true. There are also like
It's not
pictures.
like they can't make masks for themselves.
Yeah, there are pictures circulating around the internet, being those like in front of some hospitals. They have bulk supplies that are in like big, really huge boxes, and then people are saying those things are masks. However, they are not touching them, they are not distributing them, just putting it there. So when the people need it, they save it for the hospitals, or yeah, entirely not for the people.
Okay.
Yeah, like if they are going to distribute it to the people, it's likely that, I mean, at least the people in line waiting at the hospital might not be infected that quickly or that badly. Yeah. And also, other than the masks, um, like food and toilet paper are also sold out in a lot of places.
Also, Chinese government said that they ordered new masks to producers, but the producers are afraid that these masks won't be sold soon because the epidemic will end. But the Chinese government said that if there are surplus, they will buy those too, so that the producers shouldn't be afraid of that.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's a good point. So that is strange that these producers are even like, okay, we're afraid we're not going to sell them, so maybe we shouldn't produce them. Like, this is weird, because this is not going to be the last outbreak, and this outbreak is, I'm not sure if it's going to stop soon either. So maybe it will. It could.
Doubtful. I think China's lying. And there's a doctor. Quick, I'm gonna pull up the post. His name is Scott Gottlieb, who is actually a former FDA commissioner, who's saying that the number of new coronavirus cases out of China remain relatively linear, varying from day to day within a narrow band. Tonight's update is no different. It suggests that testing capacity may be influencing the reported cases more than epidemiology. So, again, it's been reported that China does not have enough test kits. That's one of the big things. The other thing we just talked about earlier was that they were locking people in houses and dragging people out, throwing them in quarantine vans. The other things that we haven't discussed yet, and we kind of got into a little bit, was the SO2 levels, where they're burning bodies. Admittedly, they've been saying that they're burning bodies, but the SO2 levels are so high that for them to only be burning the official number now of deaths, which is 800 people, is just a lie. The sulfide levels would not be that high if they were only burning 800 people. And that's only in Wuhan alone. The SO2 levels are at like 1,000 plus, and that's beyond dangerous levels. Like, you're supposed to have SO2 levels of, like, I think 80. Like, it's beyond. That's up there. Don't quote me on that. But if it is 80, that's way up there, and way past dangerous levels.
Yeah. Suspiciously high levels. That's true.
Yeah, right. And there's another thing that we should touch on too, and that's that there's been reports by mainstream media and Chinese-owned media saying that they aren't counting some deaths as deaths from this virus. They're just marking them as cases of pneumonia, and other viral infections. So, those key things there, it kind of says that the Chinese government is not telling the truth about this.
Okay, so then let's think about why. What are the reasons why they would not be telling the truth?
Well, for that, we can look at their past of, SARS, how 3 out of 4 cases was escaped from a lab, number one. And then number two, when SARS happened in 2003, I think it was 2003, I believe that's when it happened, right? They were not telling the truth about that pandemic. They covered it up into the point where they had to tell the truth.
Yeah, okay, but I get that part, but I mean, like, what would be the motives to do it? Like, is it like economic reasons or whatever? Like, because if you're not reporting the truth, it helps on like the short term to not like have like a huge stock market crash or whatever. But on the long term, you're going to
Right.
infect more people. So you're causing yourself damage
Right.
too with it. Because if you say like, oh, we don't have many infections here, you can just walk on the street, we don't care, then you're going to infect more people, and it's going to be more damage to the economy.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think I think they didn't simply expect so many to be infected because they have a lot of disease going on year round. We just don't hear about them because it's not a huge outbreak. They could contain it, and then they just don't spread the news about that.
Well, I mean, like, for people in Hong Kong, they simply like hear the disease come in China from time to time that they get sort of a bit numb on on what kind of like pathogen is going on inside China.
Yeah, and the other thing is, from the Chinese military perspective, um, there's a Chinese military website that's known as Xilu, Xilu, and they're saying that the Chinese chief biochemical weapons defense expert, Major General Chen Wei, has taken over the Wuhan P4 laboratory. The same website has actually accused the U.S. of this virus, and they said that it was a bio weapon. So we have a contradiction here between, and this doesn't happen often with the Chinese, um, because they're usually very uniform. So we have a contradiction here between the Chinese military, and the Chinese Communist Party narrative, where they're saying that everything's under control. Um, so, make of that what you will.
yeah. So it seems like, so they would suggest they use like that they use like a strategy of like fake it till you make it, right? That you lie about that
Yeah,
you have everything under control, and you hope in the meantime to actually get it under control.
yeah, right, absolutely. And again, we're also seeing like the spraying happening, and that's another sign that shows that they're not fully under control.
Yeah, that would be some sort of like bleach or whatever. Like I saw this Dettol and other things they actually do like detox against these types of viruses from objects. So probably like they're spraying that
Yeah, it's some type
chemical.
of
Yeah.
yeah, it's some type of disinfectant. I was told it was disinfecting gas. Um, there's another person who said it was chlorine, but they're spraying it all over the place in various cities in China.
Yeah. Yeah. So perhaps if chlorine is also like very effective, it's also so. But it's not very healthy for you. But if we are talking about like being like there being like a shortage of masks, maybe there is a shortage in other supplies too, and they might be using chlorine in some cases, I guess. Like, some other stuff is not available, and you still need to do the whole disinfection. Then you use these things too, like, a little more aggressive, but. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised by it if they use it. But I would be surprised if they use like mass scale chlorine instead of bleach or whatever. If that works too, I mean that is like, yeah, it's difficult to say to say like, yeah, the Chinese government is actually like doing things to harm its population. Like it's
It would more it would more so be a biological accident. There's a case document saying that the Chinese and Americans were working on fusing a coronavirus from bats and also a SARS virus from mice, and this was in 2015. So if they were doing that type of research back then, what do you think that they were doing now? Something similar, and it doesn't really matter the reason why. It matters that it got out, and they can't deny that it got out, and also that the Chinese is now, or the Chinese military website, it's trying to blame the U.S. for it instead of taking responsibility, while at the same time, the lab that's suspected has been taken over by a major Chinese general. So it's such a complicated situation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know countries like the United States and Russia. They keep several bioweapons, diseases frozen, and to be used for biowarfare. And it is not. It would not be a surprise if China develops these things too, and that maybe something got out. It wouldn't be really surprising. I mean, they wouldn't be like unique with it. Like some other big governments do the same thing. So.
Well, yeah. Well, Francis Boyle, the guy behind the Anti-Bio Weapons Chemical Act in 1989, I think, he said that a BSL-4 lab is specifically used for bio weapons, for creating bioweapons. That's what he said that it was used for. So, this guy is legitimate, and he has a lot of credibility under his belt. And the fact that he said that is a bombshell in itself. Also, um, a scientist in Canada and two Chinese scientists in Canada. They were sending coronavirus material, to the Wuhan lab last July. And beyond that, the Canadian scientist recently just turned up dead in Africa. Um, so again, make it what you will with all of these coincidental situations, but the fact that there was a virus being sent from Canada to Wuhan, and then the Canadian scientist just now turns up dead, that's two big red flags. If you need any more, um, you know, the Wuhan virology lab was literally putting out a job request for people to work on a new coronavirus fused with bats. So, they were doing all the research for this thing to have leaked out. So it's not like we're just saying it's all speculation that uh, a virus leaked out of this lab. There's a lot of evidence there, if you look, that back up that hypothesis.
Okay. Should we continue more about this now, or should we talk about the other things going on? We have the bushfires in Australia too. We should also mention that, I guess. Did you guys look into that whole subject?
In Western Australia, there are bushfires breaking out again and spreading around, and it seems like it will continue like this. And there are also strong winds and storms going on. And these bushfires in Australia has created a lot of environmental problems. for plants and animal species. Some species also got extinct. In mainstream media, it generally says that it's caused by high temperatures and because of climate changes and stuff like this, but they don't go to the root of the problem. Environmental activists in the area often say that there are actually root problems to that, and these should be discussed.
Yeah, they will throw this at like these general problems again, like climate change or whatever.
One of the problems is that actually in Australia, to clear fields, they use the bush burning activities. It's also to clear harmful plants and different wildweed species so that it actually protects the biodiversity. So that they actually should use fire. But due to modernization and crowded building, unfortunately these fires cannot be controlled anymore, and it spreads to the larger areas, so that it creates these fires. There are solutions to this, but right now, instead of finding really long-term solutions, many companies try to make profit from it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're also contradicting each other again because, for example, the Washington Post says research shows that human-caused climate change is doing it, while the BBC says a natural weather phenomenon known as the Indian Ocean Dipole has meant a hot, dry spell across the country. And it creates more extreme weather patterns and higher temperatures, and increases the risk of bushfires. So literally you have like one media saying this is this natural phenomenon, and the other media saying like, no, people are doing it. So that's the weird thing. Like, are they even investigating the root causes?
I don't think that they are investigating it, because calling it natural causes actually doesn't find any good solutions to it, because what can you do against these natural problems? But if actually they went to the root of the problem, there are certain reasons for this, and there are actually solutions to that, and it could be prevented in the long term.
I think there was 16 or 18 people that were arrested for arson in Australia earlier last month. So in regards to that, I think that some of it was arson and then some of it was natural. And I think that the arson could also lead to the fires themselves spreading further and further and further. And also Australia has been very dry. There hasn't been a lot of rain. I think rain just happened recently, a few days ago, and I think it's still raining over there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but so just the fact that the climate is so dry over there, that would allow the fires to spread further. If they were arson or if it was just normal nature.
But the thing is that it is easy to call it arson, but there are also local people actually trying to clear these bushes, but they don't have such effective methods as in the past anymore, because of the modernization and buildings very close to each other, and now it is like these areas are stuck among these buildings. So it's becoming harder and harder to do these activities, and maybe some of them might be arsons, but some of them are just actually local people trying to find solutions to continue their farming activities and harvesting activities, and trying to keep their environment still natural and diverse.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reading more about it because they do say that these forest fires are very common in Australia. They happen each year. This year a little more than normal, but they do make clear that almost 15% of all the bushfires are actually coming from lightning strikes. Like, what the hell is up with that? Uh, and a lot of
Yes,
arson too.
because
Go ahead.
yes, because of the desertification, because of the dryness, the surface of the soil loses the plant surface. Due to that, also it's much easier for the dry bushes to burn and spread the fire around. One of the solutions to that could be, for example, not use building materials from inflammable material, but instead using biological material which won't burn easily, so that actually when local people use these activities, it won't spread to modern buildings.
Yeah. The thing is, Australia is so large, and there is so little actually like populated area. Like, all people are concentrated in a few big cities, and the rest is pretty much like desert land.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, yeah. So what kind of priority does it have for them, even like in this middle of nowhere, to do this? Like, actually stop this. They should, but they're not trying enough.
Depends on the areas of Australia. On the coast, there's a lot of people. So
Yeah, if you talk about like Sydney and stuff, there's like huge cities. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's concentrated there, and like that they actually use like these small planes to travel across Australia. Uh, it's also very hard to contain if you don't you don't have like roads inside into like all these desert areas. And you have to go in from the air or whatever. You can't use boats, or you can't use roads to it because it's all empty area. So you have minimal options to actually fight this. Yeah. What is that about the bees? Do we have to? Smiler says we have to wait a little more for the bees.
Because she wants to talk about it, but I think she's away for a while.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah. I think we should go ahead.
Sorry, it's the lag. No, just go ahead.
I was going to say I think we should go back to the Wuhan situation because we didn't really touch on everything. The other subject that we should touch on is the newly built hospital and the temporary hospitals that they are now opening up.
Oh yeah, that's actually two of them. The hospital thing.
Yeah, Yeah, so you could take that away. Disintegrate. Hello. Do you not want to discuss it?
Huh?
I thought you
I
were
don't
going to
know.
discuss it.
Oh, I don't know much about them, but I just know that there's two,
You can start with that.
I guess. So one of them has like, well, they're especially built to safely dispose of corpse. The
Dispose.
one
Yeah.
of them dispose of corpse. Yeah.
We've also seen with the temporary hospitals, they're literally locking people in to these rooms where there is no door handle on the inside and there's only a door handle on the outside. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, what they're doing to all these people, it's insane. It's like China is showing that it cannot handle a large scale pandemic like this without abusing the rights of its citizens.
Which is sad because
Yeah.
this would be the perfect moment to show actually the world that they are different.
Yeah, but this is the same country that has a surveillance system with drones that are now going outside. And if you are outside during this pandemic, these drones are literally like have speakers in them that are saying, "Go back inside. It is unsafe, citizen." I'm not kidding. I saw the fucking video and I saw the audio from these drones and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like there was a guy who went outside for to go like check his farming or whatever on his ranch or farm, and there was a drone that came by and it told him that these are untrying times, dear citizen. Go back inside.
Yeah, I think they do that so to like stop people from going outside to see like what is happening. So they can just
Yeah.
announce them like this is happening, and you don't get to see it. So you just have to rely on us and believe the information that we're spreading. I think that's the intention here.
Yeah,
Like
I would definitely agree with that for sure.
yeah, because like asking them to go back, not trying to get a cure for them because they usually have a reason going out. It's either like getting food or trying to get yourself cured, or else who would want to go out in such times? Yeah, and have you guys saw like the like other than the two hospitals, they also use other places to like take in the patients. Have you guys saw those?
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, that I really want to bring up is that why would China have to build new hospitals instead of use big entertainment? What do I want to say? Big like buildings like schools and warehouses and stuff like that, where they could just make them into makeshift hospitals. You know why?
I mean, like they are using those. Like this example you have here, it was an arena.
Okay,
Yeah, and then they just put a lot of beds in there, but that is not very.
right.
Yeah, that's not very effective because they don't have anything isolating in between them, and a lot of
Yeah, that's
people
true.
share the same bathroom.
Well, the one hospital, I don't know where it's at. Somebody said it was in Wuhan. Um, I think it was one of the temporary hospitals that they just built. Um, Woman said that the bathroom was 200 meters away, and there was no bathroom inside of the actual building. So
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. Like
yeah,
that is the problem when I don't understand when you build a new one, you're supposed to also add those features in, yeah. when you're using like a arena or like something else, it makes sense that they when they build these things initially, they were not thinking about having to accommodate so many people. But when you build a new one, you're supposed to like get good um, toilets, washrooms for the amount of people that you're building for.
Yeah.
So
The problem is that they had to build these. Oh my god, that is crazy. That picture of all those beds. Like the viewers can't,
mhm.
or listeners, I'm sorry, can't see that. But oh my, that is a lot of beds all next to each other. Yeah,
Yeah, and you can sort of see those blocks in yellow color,
yeah,
but they are not blocking each bed, but each bigger section.
yeah, yeah. Right.
I
It's
don't know
blocking
how
like
to help
section.
me. Yeah.
First off, that's no privacy. Second, all those people that are sick, if one person's sicker than the other, everybody is going to get as sick as that one person. Like, oh my god, that is crazy.
Yeah, and
Is that the
in some,
center?
the one that they're building should be the one that is one of the new hospitals, I think. But the video that I posted above was like using another building instead of the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the picture that Amber posted, is that the arena, or where is that? Do you know?
No, that should be a new hospital.
It is the new hospital in
Yeah.
Hubei.
Because
Wow.
like that word, the Chinese word there says like building A number 2. So I think it's one of those like vertical things you see in the second picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks more like
Okay.
like an industrial thing, like just changed into an hospital. But yeah.
Right, yeah, it looks like a warehouse
Yeah,
that
yeah, exactly.
changed into a makeshift hospital. That's what that looks like. And the fact that they're doing that, it says that they're lying about the numbers. Like, if they got to build two temporary hospitals and then use a warehouse, and how many hospitals are actually in Hubei? And does anybody know?
There are at least 5, I know.
That's it.
Because
Only
we have
five.
that
Wow.
more than 5 it should be. Because we have that Hubei number 5 hospital that that Fang Bin was filming
Mhm.
in. So at least there were 5.
So okay, so let's say there's five. How many hospital beds do you think that would be out of those five?
Well, it's hard to estimate.
Well, I mean, just like give a guess. It doesn't have to be like fully accurate. It's just a um, way to like gauge um, how many people are
Okay.
in these hospitals as
I
opposed
know
to what they're saying.
these two new ones have like 1,000 and one of 1,100 or 1,200 beds, I think. So 1,000 and 1,200. These two new ones. These are at least what I read about it. Which is pretty big. I mean, like the, I think the largest hospital in my country has like 1,200 beds. So it's the Amsterdam Medical Center.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say the maximum, if you say like 5 times 1,000 bats, then you have like 5,000 bats, I guess. Yeah.
But you know the thing is like there were also videos online saying that like the people who filmed the videos are not diagnosed but just under observation, and they were put into these hospitals. And that's really not so nice because they could just not have the disease and cut it there.
Hmm. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if you don't have it and you get put there and like you get infected by all the, you're surrounded by all these people actually have it, right? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like you will be there for 14 days.
My God. So we have a few other things surrounding that. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah. So there is a lot of racism going on of people like calling it like the China virus and people in other countries avoiding Chinese people, which yeah, it's kind of weird. It's just like typical behavior. Of course, you can expect it, but doesn't actually help. It affects everyone. Unlucky for them, it started there, but anyone can get it. It's not like there's like a difference between people. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there are also cases of non ethnics, like non-ethnic Chinese people catching the disease as well.
Of course. Of
So
course.
like we have Japanese people and we have people in the US and in Germany at least.
Yeah, the only reason why there would be less of those now is like, yeah, many people like you travel to families and stuff. Like you these are like the holidays, and if you're coming like from Wuhan or whatever. You're traveling to like a Chinese, mostly Chinese family members in other countries. So of course it will be more there now. But it's like these viruses don't care what kind of country you are from. Anyone can get this kind of stuff.
Definitely, because international communities stuck in China, especially in Wuhan, were also streaming videos saying that this virus has no nation and it's not about Chinese people, but it's just a virus, so anyone can get caught.
Of course, of course. It's not like a flu only affects certain countries. Like, yeah. You always have an epicenter, of course, but that's with everything. You have an epicenter, and if the government is doing fine, if the government is doing a good job, you contain it to this epicenter. But it's already spreading. I mean, not so many cases. Luckily, not so many cases outside of China yet. But
Yeah, but I can sort of see it's still growing in numbers,
yeah,
like even in China, because like today there are news coming out saying that for a case in Hong Kong where the okay, so that person who had the disease went to have hot pot, which is like a one very traditional Chinese way of having food, not only
Oh,
in southern
hot
Hong Kong but the entire, yeah, the entire China. Everyone have that, and then the entire table that ate with that person all caught the disease. So uh what's risky in there is that first, in a hot pot, it's really easy for you to share your utensils that you eat with. And then the second thing, doctors have already verified that when you have hot pot and then there's like the mist, it would make it even easier for you to catch the disease because by that mist, the virus can travel to more than 3 meters. So imagine not only that table, but everyone very close to that table in restaurant could all be infected if they are there for long enough. And that is one very traditional way. Like a lot of Chinese people have hot pot in winter, so it's possible that it could spread even further, not only in Wuhan because of their like saliva or like sneezing, yeah, but by having dinner together.
yeah, because you have this hot pot together, right, with a group of people, and then you're infecting each other.
Hmm.
But how hot? Like for this hot pot itself doesn't cause it, right? I mean, how hot is this actually? Like, because I was checking it in the meantime, like, and it says like viruses are killed at 60 degrees Celsius. between 60 and 65.
I think the thing is in like you would catch it from the pot, but the virus would travel in the air by the mist, so that is how you would catch it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
By
There was
aerosol.
a
Yeah.
It's called
Go ahead.
aerosol, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So basically your it's like basically your when you're the yeah the like some of the the virus stick into the vapor in the air, so they get to like get to transmit for quite a distance, because basically the vapor floats in the air. Yeah. So I know that like you it's not about the pot or the food. It's about because like everyone is eating on the same table. The moment you ever get to talk or whatsoever, you're actually like you there's bound to have some kind of like there's bound to have like particle like um like when you speak, there's bound to have like particles spread, like these like your lava spreading out, like spreading out from the mouth, so that we cannot help. The most deadly thing is not the food hygiene, but you yourself like on the same table. So it's quite like risky, to be honest.
Yeah, not only in the same table, like the tables nearby in the same restaurant, that could already, because it could spread more than 3 meters away. So, yeah, maybe 2 tables
Three
ahead.
tables.
Is it?
Not sure, but okay. So mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we quite recently we have a quite a surge in like cases outside China. Yes.
yeah.
So
There's like
basically
300 cases.
300 cases. Now I think Singapore is leading. Whoa.
Yeah. No, no. And then Singapore.
I mean, like besides all the like the cruise ships stranded in the sea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how's
Like
it like in Singapore right now?
uh in Singapore, well,
Yeah.
I tell you one thing. Like people like before, people are already panic buying masks. On panic buying masks. So the like 2 weeks ago when I was trying to I think I should get 2 weeks ago I was like I think I should try to get some mask stock in the house. Then when I go out and walk around all the pharmacies, they're already gone off the shelves.
But I remember you saying like they are not wearing the mask yet. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, like when I get onto their mass railway, like the mass transit railway, at a bit okay, basically the train, and when you look, you, I mean, like take a glance around, it's like estimate 40% of people wearing masks.
What about right now? Or are you talking about right now
Yes,
already?
right now. I mean,
Like,
like we,
what are they thinking? Can you just tell us what's in their mind?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Was thinking they might be like, oh, but I heard from my like my relatives, they say that, oh, but we got a few times seeing that like people like they see when somebody is coughing on beside, they will start to wear the mask.
That's when it's too late if they already carry the disease, I
Yeah, yeah,
guess.
right. That's so true.
And on the other hand, so basically there was like some of, I don't know why, I definitely don't know why, like the government is actually issuing circulating this like information saying that okay, please Please remember, if only wear a only wear a mask if you're sick or you're working in high risk areas. So like that. Yeah. So they tell I need to find back that message because they actually because the Singapore government is getting a bit like tech savvy. They get to have like push messages of they get to have WhatsApp bots going on. So it's like, oh, interesting.
I also saw that Singapore, Thailand, and China, as well as Malaysia, were arresting citizens for spreading quote unquote rumors or fake news about the coronavirus.
I haven't got that. Well, I haven't. I know that Malaysia there's one, but in Singapore, I don't find it kind of I don't find it kind of like information. I don't know.
Yeah, there
It's
was
just
two. There was like one or two arrests of somebody. Of
like where
one
we
or two
read from
people.
because like I don't get a
Um,
lot of that information.
I don't remember where I read it. I just saw it. Um, there was one or two arrests in Singapore. There was 8 arrests, and then two were charged in Thailand, and then China has arrested countless people.
Well, China is really not news for arresting that. But okay. Oh.
Did you
Okay,
find
so
it?
no, no, no. Although they were like, I mean, like they were like actually giving like push messages on like, oh, please don't panic. Please don't stop. Please don't go to stock up tissue papers. Uh, your instant noodles and your and rice in your houses, or you will be depriving people who really need it. Blah blah blah. And then they were like, oh, please wear a mask only when you're ill or you're working in a high risk industry. And then if you're not sick, you don't need to wear a mask. Sorry, um I think I like off a while. Like the wearing mask is not about the it's not about not it's not only about not get not letting yourself spread the disease, but also not getting it's also to prevent others from spreading to you.
You
Yeah,
cut out there for a second.
as he was saying that wearing mask is not only for spreading your own disease if you're ill, but is also from not actually catching it, right? And uh, but also keep in mind that it might not show directly if you're ill. You have like an incubation period too. You might already be infected, but you're not actually feeling sick yet. It can take a few days. So
Yeah. So yeah. Uh oh, I don't get to like get back those like information back. Anyway, anyway, there's this one like I think like I quite I somehow like quite heard a few people they were saying like no, actually, if I don't like, yeah, I believe in the government, but I don't believe that, but the mask is for prevention. So there's this, they trust the government, but they were like they have their own thought. And people, and you can, and actually in Singapore people are still like panic buying buying like food off the shelves.
yeah.
But now it has gone sort of a bit like gone off.
See, and there is
Like the heat has gone.
I checked the incubation period now, and it says it's average 2 days, but there is a range of between 12 hours and 5 days. So that means you can walk around for 5 days, being infected, but not noticing anything. After 5 days, you suddenly get sick.
Well, actually, it says the incubation period's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
it's
also heard too somewhere.
allowing for variability and recall error. Exposure history based on the prior 14 days is recommended at this time for novel coronaviruses. So that is what they recommend, because it was also for the MERS a range of 2 to 14. But for this specific one, they say at health.gov in Canada, they say it is a range of 2 hours to 5 days. So that would be a little shorter than SARS and MERS, because SARS was 4 to 5 days with a range of 2 to 10 days, and the MERS was 5 days with a range of 2 to 14 days. So it would be a little faster, but to be safe, 14 days would still be possible, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I was just when you guys were talking about, I was just searching for it, and it's just from health.gov. I'm not sure how reliable all these things are. I mean, you've seen different sources stating different stuff, and if SARS and MERS could both be also 10 to 14 days, I don't see why this would be so different. But
Yeah, these days it's important to always get updated because like each day there is already a ton of new information and they could already be different.
yeah,
Okay.
several things they don't even know. They don't even know how a person can get it, or how someone can be resistant. They say it's like unknown. But susceptibility is assumed to be universal, so everyone can get it.
I mean, like there were cases in yeah, actually there's one unknown case in Singapore that they don't know where it come from, but otherwise like some of them they found out it's either some of there are other clusters, like there's one from a shop that is visited by Chinese tourists, and there's one cluster that's I think some family came, their family they had like they it's like a family member came from Wuhan, and then they spread the virus to the family, and the family went to church, so the church so well, and then they started to spread the disease like based on there. So it's actually like I mean like if there's a outbreak, so please like don't go to like crowded area. Please avoid going to crowded areas.
It's big silence.
I was looking for updates. Sorry.
We got like a big amount of listeners, guys. So it seems that many people are still either very worried or just very interested in it. So I'm thinking, yeah, we
Um.
go
Oh, I
ahead.
mean, like for now, it's like this whole virus thing is like taking away our headlines.
Yeah, maybe you girls should give the advice again on how people can actually stay safe, like washing their hands and stuff. Because there are so many people listening, maybe it's good that they actually get this advice again.
Because just now I was like eating, like before the show, I was eating for oranges. Vitamin C.
Well, that's always healthy.
Yeah, vitamin C can like strengthen your immune system. So even if there might be like the virus spreading around you, if you're good enough in your immune system, it's not so easy that you will actually catch it because um, you yourself are exposed to a lot of viruses every day, and you won't get sick from everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. Like we get in touch with different viruses every day, bacteria too, and we don't really catch it because we have like an immune system. And yeah, vitamin C is healthy. I've learned that garlic seems to be healthy too in these cases, especially against the influenzas. Uh,
Hmm.
so this combination, like vitamin C and garlic, it actually reduces the length of your disease if you get ill, and it also reduces the chances of you actually getting it. So that is one thing, but so that's what you can do with your immune system. But then you have also like what else can you do? Like you have to like look at hygiene and things, right? And
Yeah, true hygiene is another really important thing. So always wash your hands, because it's proven that washing your hands is actually better than spraying on disinfectant or just like alcohol. It's even more useful than doing those things to avoid having bacteria on your hands. And also, like, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, because those are the openings that is the most vulnerable.
Well, with
Yeah.
this, there was a doctor that said even the eyes, that the virus can like seep in through the eye mucus.
yeah,
So that's
Could that
notable.
be possible?
That's what he said.
yeah, and the World Health Organization, yeah, for that reason also says avoid touching eyes, nose, and mouth because it actually goes into there. And what washing the hands, like you guys said, is yeah, and maintain social distancing. That will be hard for some people if you travel in like trains and things and buses. So that's what the probably the places where these masks would be really important if you travel a lot there.
Yeah, masks right now, if mostly it's better to protect yourself with that, because even if you're not protecting yourself from this particular virus, you can also protect yourself from a lot of flus and impurities in the air, at least. Yeah.
Yeah,
Drink lots of water, eat healthy, ventilate your house regularly, and disinfect your house regularly. Clean your areas, and also, of course, stay away from suspected people who might look sick. And if you have the weaker immune system, always be careful about the symptoms. If you have any symptoms, go to a nearest hospital. These are the, I think, main points.
yeah, that's what they say to seek medical care early, right?
Yes.
Like, well, if you are in countries where this is not like huge amount of infections yet, maybe it would be wiser to go to your local doctor first, actually, and not to a hospital, because if you are all going with masses to hospitals there and some are infected, it might actually be a place where you catch it. So I'm just saying that, but this is only for countries where there are almost no infections yet. It would be my personal opinion is that this. So use it if you want to, but perhaps go to a local doctor first, where you have like a one-on-one conversation. As long as there are no mass infections in your area, like
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
and it
very
is
good
also
advice.
important. Yeah. It's also better that you check what are the symptoms of this virus, particularly online first, because not all the coughing, all the fever would be directly linked to this virus. So beware of like what symptoms do you have and how they are linked to this virus. It's usually more like if you have like if you have breathing problems, it's more likely that you have this kind of pneumonia than usual flu.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what people also should remember, that the usual flu actually infects like 1 billion people every year, and it's still active too. It's not suddenly disappeared or whatever. So you can also still have the normal flu, but it is important to be cautious about it. And like you say, if you have like really trouble breathing and all these things, then probably something worse is going on. Yeah. But you might be very advanced already in your disease if you're actually already having like pneumonia and trouble breathing. By the way, just thinking about that.
Yeah, but before that, it's hard to tell
Yeah.
because a lot of patients also did not show any symptom until they got tested positive. Yeah, by the way, going back to the origin of the virus, so there are actually cases. The first batch of cases, some of them were not directly linked to that market. So people, the entire time, people were speculating that it is the most likely that the virus outbreak was from that Huanan seafood market, from one of those animals that they sold. Not really sure which one because they don't. Yeah, it's not. It's later proven that the virus that the people caught were not directly from the bats. So because of the RNA sequence, uh, it is evident that um, there is another carrier, another species of carrier in between the bats and human. And now they're saying like they really don't know what animal that is. It could be like snakes, as a lot of scientists have speculated, but still not sure. And today I read something, and it suggested that even in the first few cases, there are already cases that are not related to this market, so it could be somewhere else.
I read there were even like some sources trying to like blame like some what was it, an animal that is like actually almost extinct.
Oh, really?
Well, what was it, Amber? I think you remember this. They were blaming some strange animal.
Anaconda or something. I'm trying to
Hmm.
remember.
Wait, is it a amphibian
Might be,
type
yes.
of? Because I heard that there's a type of amphibian. They're like the Chinese like long or the upper like the upper echelons, the upper classes of the Chinese regard it as a delicacy. And for one thing, their living, their habitat has already very seriously affected by the building of one of the dam in, I think, like 10 or about 15 years ago somewhere, and it's already near endangered, and now they still and now it's like nearly like the species is just like very endangered, I would say, critically endangered.
Okay. Was reading the story you just posted, Smarter.
Okay. Um.
So that one.
So that
Go ahead. So this lag is sometimes annoying.
yeah, you can go on, please.
I was only going to mention what you just posted, and that's that one thing we discussed it before the show. That is that we should be seeing high variations of the virus in patients. Like what we see, like a
Mhm.
constant growth or something about with the infections. What used to be like a steady growth, but it should actually be more like more variating a lot.
Yeah.
Or is this more like does this does this mean that you actually should see changes in the virus in patients? Is that what you mean with it?
Can you just say it again?
Well, this point four you just posted. Does it mean that you actually it should show like more variations in the amount of infections, or that it should show variations in that the virus changes?
It should show variations in that the virus changes. Yeah, it
Hmm.
should change every time that it goes to a new carrier. So here's what it's saying. But they don't see that very often. That's why it's not that different from what we get right now. And that paper actually was only talking about the um, first batch of patients that they could find in Wuhan only.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good point because it mutates, of course, and depends on what
But
yeah what's already happening in your body, and it should act differently, and it should combine itself.
yeah, it should mutate even more because okay, so this paper was published on January 29. So definitely talking about the first cases. Yeah. So let me just cover about this a little bit. So they're saying first thing this virus is from originated from bats virus. However, it is not as close as the other viruses directly in bats. So they are suggesting that uh, there might be one or more possible carrier than the bats in between, like from bats to transmitting to human. So because we see that, we are expecting even more variations because, like, when you get to another carrier, there it is necessary that you have some kind of mutations in the virus, yeah.
Yeah.
And then from that carrier to human, even more. And there's also a bunch more possibilities to mutate in. However, in the RNA sequence that they could find in the first batch of human patients, the sequences are identical in 99.9%. Even though like there are cases linked to the market, and there are also cases that are not linked to the market. So it is possible that they caught it from two different origin. However, the RNA sequence is almost identical. So the paper suggested that it is possible that both market linked or not uh, were actually from the one same source that was spread in a very short period of time and have infected a lot of people. Yeah, so that basically says like it is not natural because if it's natural, then it would not be like the same thing spreading in two sources but did not mutate that much. I think like this is a little bit hinting to um, it's either a lab leak or like intentional leak. Because they usually don't say like this is a man-made disease that is meant to be spread outside, or yeah, they would never say that.
No,
But
but
yeah, these are things that I could read from that paper.
okay.
Yeah, and also earlier we actually said that I found another paper saying the core of the virus should be the source of the mutation. So it should mutate from the inside to the outside. That would be a natural mutation. But in this virus, from the sequence, they can see that the core is very much the same as the other viruses, only the outside, which should be the last thing that gets mutated, is changed. So that is a very not natural thing. So another evidence hinting to a like genetically modified by human kind of disease.
Okay. So that would suggest that it might have been something that is like escapes from this lab in Wuhan.
Yeah, it is possible. Like, say, seeing how close that market is with that lab. So it's either like a cover up with the market or the leak spread it to the market. I mean, the lab. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Amber, you there?
I was actually looking for that animal species,
Yeah, I was searching too. I couldn't
which is
find it.
about to extinct. Yes, I found it. This is why I was a bit quiet. It's called pangolin. Yeah, I am sending the picture of it in the chat.
Okay, nice.
Oh, that cute little critter with scales.
Yes, in France
Mm.
and in India, they are given the news that pangolin identified as potential link for coronavirus spread.
I think they sell this thing.
Wait,
I think they sell this thing in the market.
wait. I thought that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like they like the Chinese traditional medicine say that there's always been like all around like saying there's scales of whatever medical property or whatsoever, and people are like, killing them like so badly that they go extinct. They nearly go extinct, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would explain why they go extinct if they're sold on the market. Like, yeah. Yeah, so that is what they're saying in some sources in India and France, like Amber was saying that it could be the link. So, yeah.
I mean, like, I think that like they're actually like saying that those scales were actually sold was they were actually hunted and sold in bulk in is it like Burma? Wait, Myanmar? Yeah, Myanmar. And people like the Chinese people are going there and buying it. Well, when the scales on the pangolins is actually like similar to hairs on any other mammal.
I have no idea. Never heard of that, but mm, I think people just buy it because it's rare. You know, there's no other reason why you should buy animal's skin. Especially like these ones, you can't make clothing out of that even.
Oh, it's for the medical property for the scales. But well, the scales is actually like their version of like our hair. Like like it's just like the pangolin scales is equivalent to hair on mammals. So basically, you're still eating keratin, like how like people believing with like rhino horns can cure whatever when rhino horns is actually like similar to well nails, similar equivalent to nails or whatsoever.
Yeah. So for our listeners, I've put a picture of a pangolin on the background, so you know what to avoid if you don't want to catch virus. So some media says that this creature is possibly a link with the coronavirus spread. Don't know for sure. It's the media, of course. But yeah.
Next Sunday, we will possibly more updates about the virus, and also we will have guests from Japan. Maybe Smiler, you want to talk about briefly the guests that we are going to have and what we are going to talk about shortly.
Okay, so we will have two guests. One of them actually is from Fukushima. So we will certainly put quite some time on that, I expect, to talk about how the city is like. I mean, how um, the city, the area is like right now. And maybe potentially we'll hear some kind of explanation to the conspiracy about Fukushima. Not sure about that, but yeah. So, but other than that, we will also be talking about first the dolphin hunting in Taiji, and
Yes,
then yes, environmental issues, that one, yeah, and then some politics about the policies before Tokyo Olympics, which, well, it's actually happening around 6 months later, and then also how how the Japanese government sees the globalism efforts, and also some like American military bases in Japan, like how are the people seeing this stuff, how are their reactions like, and also of course going back to this virus right now, because we see a lot of cases actually in Japan. I'm not sure how much they are afraid of it. I've never heard of a panic in Japan on the news. Not like people are bulk buying anything. So it's interesting to hear like how they are dealing with the virus right now. Yeah, I think more or less that's it. And also some tension. Like how are they seeing the tensions between China and the US, and protests around the world. Yeah, more or less it.
Well, I'm actually very interested on how they will fare in this outbreak because well, as you can as I think like our Hong Kong guests from Hong Kong will be most familiar with is that a lot of the Chinese has actually buy away the Japanese masks and they are running out of stock. They don't have like likely not enough stock for themselves even.
You mean in Japan? I think in the major cities, of course, um, that they are selling out those masks as well. But as what I know, in some not so big cities, like minor cities, they still have those masks.
Yeah, they still have stock, but people are like crazy on like finding them all. So we should like hear a bit from our Japanese guests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be nice.
And maybe our viewer, our listeners over here, maybe you if you sort of wanna ask them any questions, maybe you should like give a comment over here. We'll take them we'll pick them up uh during our next show.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, it sounds good. I'm especially interested in the whole Fukushima thing. I mean, that is, I think, one of the most destructive events that ever happened, like ever in human history, and we don't ever hear about it. Yeah, modern times, you can say that. I think maybe in all times. I mean, this is like it continues to poison like all the oceans and everything. So. And it says a lot that actually the media is like never talking about it, right? They're too scared to even mention it.
I think it's already like over that period that people care about these things. You know.
I think
Yeah, but they should totally do a like update about things.
Yep. But it's also like it might even be too late to do anything about it. Like they can't even do
Yeah.
anything about it, so they're just avoiding it because when they have to talk about it, they will only have to say like, "Yeah, we can't save you anymore. It's over." We'll just talk about bees. Maybe thing else. It does look like it, right? From Fantastic Beasts, I think.
Okay, should we talk about bees or should we just?
You can talk about bees. I don't know what it's about, so you just explain it.
Oh, Amber, you should go first then.
Um, the crop failure and mainly the farmers' problems in India has been going on for a while, and it also includes the decrease of bee population in Asia. It's often discussed in the news that it will cause people to lose food resources because of losing the one out of five pollinators for plant food resources. This is why we should talk about it, and there are of course various sources about it and various reasons discussed in these. But also it's easier to talk about problems. Everyone talks about it. We should also talk about the solutions and what could be done about it. If you
Yeah,
want to
right.
talk about why bees populations are decreasing, maybe
Yeah,
we can
like
discuss it.
sure. That site you just sent us a little bit earlier said this from global climate change. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
about Europe and America. But in
Mm,
fact, it happens in the entire world. Like the bee population's been dropping everywhere.
yeah. The mainstream media shows climate change as the factor why bee population is decreasing all over the world. And they often do this recently. Mm. In the past, most often they talked about the reasons of pesticides, and now they are slowly switching to popular reasons mix into that, but we should also address the main problems here.
Yeah, true. It's like because everyone knows about climate change and now everyone cares about climate change. They're trying to put it there to be clickbait. It's like climate change, another effect of that. Click in here. Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes, go ahead, please.
yeah, how much do you think it is affected by climate change and how much it's from the pesticides? Because I'm sure that climate change, of course, took a part of that. You know, all the species right here, even us humans, are trying to adapt to the new kind of climates, like the temperatures rising, and we are adapting to that. So of course, it's not very unusual to see the bees suffering a little. But how much do you think it contributes to the depopulation of bees, and how much is the pesticides taking part of that?
More than the climate change, I actually believe that environmental problems cause bee population to decrease much more. For example, the decrease of biodiversity, because when bees actually lose out from their food resources, like certain flowering plant species, they will have a hard time to feed themselves. So it will also decrease them. And there is a problem of some areas in the world becoming deserts. This is another factor.
Like
Another
for
problem.
example, where's turning into deserts?
For example, we are losing out forest areas, and
I mean,
uh,
is there some kind of region in the world that you can name for that?